righty. So, the title is, do you think she should be deported? Do you think the black community should defend her? Well, I know the second question is most likely a no. But I think people might be divided on the first question. And I'm talking about Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj. So apparently somebody has put, I don't know who started the petition to have Nicki Minaj deported. But so far, I believe over 40,000 people have signed the petition to have Nicki Minaj deported. And it's moving up pretty fast. It's probably going to reach about 100,000 people to have her deported. She really made folks mad with that thing, that stunt that she pulled on TPUSA. But I'm going to tell you this. Although she said this mess about black folks saying that you shouldn't have to minimize the white children so the black children can feel better. Black women should not have to put down white women just because their beauty wasn't celebrated. That doesn't mean that they should not put down a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, all that stuff. I get the feeling that the trans community is coming after her pretty hard. And listen, as much as black folks get pissed off, I don't even know if a black person is the one who started that petition. I don't even believe a black person, but I could be wrong because I didn't even look at that. I'm looking at a video of somebody reacting to the petition. But I didn't go look at the petition myself to see who started it. But that trans community, when the last people were in office, it looked like they were about to take over everything, politics, the United States, and they were going to try to eventually take over the world. Where I was working at a place that I worked, one of my employee learning trainings, it's about the trans community, the LGBTQIA, and you had to learn about how to address them and not how to address them, not to misgender them, and a lot of stuff that we had to take classes, we had to take training on. So they were like literally going to take over. They were going to have their own lane. Like they were about to take over. And I feel like it's the white trans community that is the one that's really the biggest force. Okay. And I get the feeling that it might have been one of them that started this petition against Nicki Minaj. But anyway, I must have to say I don't feel sorry for her. I wouldn't sign a petition. Now, if somebody else want to sign a petition, that's on them. I'm not going to judge them for that because people have a right to react to it. That stunt that she pulled, she didn't have to bring up black people. She didn't have to say, well, just because black women weren't celebrated doesn't mean they have to put down white women. She didn't have to say that. She didn't have to say just because black kids, you don't have to tear down white kids in order to make the black kids feel better. She didn't have to say that. Where did that come from? And that made no sense. And this is what I'm talking about. In one of the other videos where you had these guys online saying all this crazy stuff about black women, I said, if none of that stuff is true, nobody ever observes anything they say that it wouldn't make sense. And this stuff that Nicki Minaj said, it didn't make sense to anybody. It didn't make sense. What white kids are being put down to make black kids feel better? Where do you see that? See what I'm talking about? It don't make sense because it's not true. Where do you see black women tearing down a bunch of white women to make themselves feel better? It don't make sense. It does not make sense because it's not true. It's not true. Who told her to say that? Did she sign a contract saying that she will say something to tear down the black community even further than it already is? Like, did she sign some kind of contract saying that she would say something like that? Because Candace Owens disparaged, she went out of her way to, even though a lot of people who don't have a platform feel similar ways about the black community, she literally built up a fan base really going in on the black community, okay? even though she says some things that a lot of people might feel the same way. And there are a lot of people, black people, that feel the same way that Candace Owens. But at the same time, those same black people now feel like, okay, she's just propped up, you know. But anyway, Umar Johnson, I guess, I'm looking at Lovely T's review of all of this, okay. And she played a clip from Umar Johnson, and he's talking about how Nicki Minaj might be set to replace Candace Owens. Okay, because I don't know. I guess with her being a rapper or whatever, she has her fan base. They want her. She has a bigger fan base than Candace Owens. She has a bigger fan base. But anyway, so yeah, I said, should she be deported? Well, according to how the MAGA feels. Now, here's my thing. She was contributing. She paid her taxes. She was not benefiting the way other immigrants came in and they used all this money while other, veterans and United States citizens struggled. They used all this money on immigrants while their own United States citizens who pay taxes struggle, while veterans struggle. I really hate to see veterans who's out in the street and they go and take care of somebody else from somebody else from another country. But Nicki Minaj was here paying taxes, even though she's undocumented. She is undocumented. She pays taxes, and so she does contribute. But still, according to MAGA, I feel like according to MAGA's views on illegal immigrants, because that's all they talk about, is illegal immigrants, she probably should be deported. According to their standards, she should be deported. I mean, they shouldn't change their mind now that it's Nicki Minaj and she has a big fan base. If she's undocumented, according to their views on undocumented immigrants, she should be deported, according to them. Now, would I care? No, because she's not here squandering. She's not here just benefiting and not doing anything with her life and just taking all the money and getting all the benefits. She's not doing that. She works hard. Okay? But yeah, I said, should the black community defend her? Obviously, that's a no. That's a no. She slapped the black community right in their face. And she slapped the trans community in their face too. But that's the trans community's war. I believe it was a trans person that might have started that doggone or somebody from the LGBTQIA started that petition on her, because they are a force. They are a force. Okay? And I believe they started that petition. And that trans community is pretty large. Okay? And to be honest with you, it's probably more white people who signed that petition. Is probably more white people than black people who signed that petition. Yep. But she threw black people up under the bus. Do I care if she gets deported? No. Well, I don't defend her. No. I have no defense for her. Yeah, I don't care either way. I won't defend her. But if MAGA is so concerned about undocumented immigrants, then she should be one that should be deported, according to them. Now, I don't know if she would actually be deported, but they pushing for her to get deported. I don't know how far they're going to take this, but they are pushing for her to get deported. And I don't care either way. I'm just looking like, wow, I don't care either way. But yeah, that was interesting seeing that Nicki Minaj might be used to replace Candace Owens. Interesting. I think it's because Nicki Minaj is going to do what they say. And Candace Owens is kind of going off the rails. She's going off the... Candace Owens is starting to go against the grain. Okay. While I do believe that Nicki Minaj can be intelligent, I don't feel like she is going to be on that political level of a Candace Owens. I just don't feel like I don't see her and Candace Owens being equal when it comes to intellect and politics. I can see that with Yvette Carnell. If you heard of Yvette Carnell, I can see that with Yvette Carnell and Candace Owens. Okay, because Yvette is not a Democrat, she's not a Republican. She voted independent, according to her, and so she's going to be very neutral in her debates, right? She's not just Democrat where everything is just left. She's very neutral in the things that she have to say where she's going to make sense. I can see Yvette Carnell uh, being equal or even above Candace Owens when it comes to the intellect as far as politics, right? As far as politics goes. I can see Yvette being equal, but I feel like Yvette Carnell is even above Candace Owens. Okay. I don't see Nicki Minaj replacing Candace Owens when it comes to the intellect and politics. I do not see Nicki Minaj replacing Candace Owens. But I do feel like Nicki Minaj is going to be more of a puppet and she's going to do more of what they tell her to do. Because Candace Owens is like, she got that strong will where she knows what she's supposed to do, but sometimes she goes off the rails. And Nicki Minaj, most likely, she will not go off the rails. Okay, but then you never know with Nicki Minaj because in the music industry, she started talking now. So you never know. One wrong move, somebody may come mad. She gonna start talking, and that might backfire on them. Okay, and then they gonna try to get her deported. But anyway, that's it, and I will talk later.